All right, welcome back, Sebastian here. So, time for my review of the Sao Paulo E-Prix, the first E-Prix of the season 11. So, very, very excited to get the season going. Kind of unfortunate that they had to have the E-Prix on the same weekend as the final F1, F2 race. As you know, I think most people will obviously be focusing on that. Probably less people, a lot of people will kind of forget that F Formula E was actually happening. But not to fear, I've gotten my review in, and yeah, so let's get started. A very chaotic race. This review might take a while. So, Pascal Wehrlein starts on pole, Oliver Rowland P2. Mitch Evans will be started the race 22nd after a technical issue in qualifying meant that he couldn't set a lap. So again, a bit of bad luck there for Evans. An aborted start we had, as there was an issue with Fiennes' car, so he basically put his hands up and, had the universal sign to the marshals basically saying he couldn't start. And of course, if a car can't start, it can be quite dangerous in that kind of situation. So, aborted start, they had to take Fiennes' car off the grid, and they basically, which, definitely took a little bit of time. Get going, Roland takes the lead in turn one, so really good start from him. Light contact turn five, between quite a few drivers, but luckily everyone kind of got through the opening lap relatively unscathed. But yeah, Dennis came over the radio saying he had damage on his right front, but seems like it wasn't too big of an issue. Lap two, Vern overtakes Dennis for P5 at turn 5, and then we had our first incident of the race. As let's see if I can get this going right. First incident of the race, as we had contact between Jake Hughes and Nico Muller at the exit of turn 6. So basically, Hughes was kind of just minding his own business, on the exit of the corner. And it looks like Muller basically has a massive snap of oversteer on the exit of the corner. And he basically just goes flying, goes into the wall, and takes Hughes out with him. So that brought out a safety car, as they obviously needed to get the tractors on track to kind of basically clear those two cars. So a bit unfortunate for both of them. Definitely looked like it was more Muller's fault than Hughes' so yeah, a bit of an unfortunate start for Muller in his Andretti debut. Bird pits for new tires. Evans up to 12th as well at this point. Nato and Mortara under investigation for a collision. Decided it was too minor, so they basically just gave Mortara a black and white flag, just kind of as a warning. Safety car ends. Bird pits again. Not sure exactly why that was. Cassidy, Van Dorn, deGrassi all go for attack mode that first lap. And then deGrassi, unfortunately for him in his home race in Sao Paulo, he was stopped on track. So he basically, I think turn 8, it was basically after the long straight, he basically just looked like the car had some kind of issue. He couldn't really turn the car. He tried to go in to turn the corner, but basically just went into the escape road and then stopped there. So a bit unfortunate for him. And lots of debris as well from the Hughes Muller crash. I was still kind of left on track, so I had to actually bring the slippery surface flag out for that. Let's see, yeah, so I think he was able to get going as well a bit later, and then there was also debris on the main streets. I'm not sure exactly how that got there. Gunther then overtakes Wehrlein for P2 at turn 1. Lap 7, Cassidy, of course, one of the drivers who took attack mode very, very early, he was already up to P5, so going much, much faster in attack mode with the four-wheel drive, showing just how powerful and effective it is with this new Gen 3 Evo car. Already, I'd say a massive improvement as well over the original Gen 3 car. And then Cassidy basically takes the lead. So basically in a lap and a half, he goes from basically outside the top to the bottom of the top 10 up to the lead. So showing just how effective it is and showing just how meaningless I think qualifying is going to be at most tracks this year. Lap 10, both Porsches take attack mode, so they drop down the order as well. Evans up to P6. And then bit of a surprise here, but Barnard, Bird, and Nato all were given drive-through penalties for overpowering. And of course, those three cars are all Nissan powertrains. So it seems like Nissan didn't have their software quite sorted out, as all of their drivers basically got drive-through penalties today, except for Roland. But unfortunately for him, his would come a little bit later. Nato then overtakes Cassidy for P1, so again, really unfortunate for Nato as he was leading the race at this point. Lap 12, Cassidy, Dennis, Roland, Evans, and Gunther were your top 5 with your Porsches 6th and 7th. And basically just on the first attack mode, it seems like taking it early was generally the better way to go. But again, very, very small sample size, so a little bit inconclusive there. Lap 13, Roland, best on energy, 67%, so really good for him at the front of the field as well. Lap 16, Roland takes his first attack mode. So again, despite the fact that he didn't take attack mode with everyone else, he was still able to stay at the front of the grid, showing, just how strong his pace was. Dennis, best on energy, 55%. Lap 18, Verline overtakes Cassie for P2, catching Roland as well, and then he eventually takes the lead. Lap 20, DaCosta takes the lead from his teammate, and then this is where things kind of all goes completely bonkers. So Dennis, his car stops at turn 1. I think they basically had some kind of electrical issue because they basically had to put like a giant orange tarp over the car, and they also decided to call a red flag. I don't think the red flag was because of the electrical failure. I think it was because they thought it was going to take too long, so they didn't want to take too many laps behind the safety car. But I think unfortunately it had massive ramifications from a strategy perspective for the end result of the race, and we'll get to that in a bit. So you have your red flag because of Dennis's car. Roland takes the lead lap 21. Lap 23, they have a standing restart, so basically stopped on the grid and proper restart. So that was good to see. McLarens had 5% more energy than everyone else behind. So what happened was the McLarens all plus Nato took their drive-through penalty, so they were miles down the field. I think what happened was they basically somehow, because of the timing of the red flag, they were able to save massively on energy compared to everyone else, whereas everyone else had used that energy, racing. So the McLarens basically were in a great position in terms of the fact that they had massive energy advantage over everyone else. Roland takes the lead at this restart again, so again, second really good start for him. Lap 24, Maloney, a drive-through penalty, not sure what that was for. I think overpowering perhaps, and Beckman also is in the pits as well, but for him it was some kind of technical issue. Cassidy, Evans take attack mode, lap 27. Cassidy overtakes Gunther for P2 at turn 10, with Evans charging up the order as well after being towards the bottom of the top 10. Roland, drive-through penalties. This is where he finally got his, and it seemed to be an issue when the cars were in attack mode. So it was when in attack mode that it seemed to be that when they were overpowering, because Roland took his attack mode so much later than the other three Nissan powered cars. So I think that it was probably had some kind of connection to do with the attack mode. So again, definitely something for Nissan to try to fix for the next race. 4 added laps because of the safety cars and everything, and Evans is in the lead after starting 22nd. So massive recovery drive for him. Lap 30, DaCosta's up to P2, and the McLarens are flying with their extra energy at this point. And then this is where the second big carnage moment of the race happened. So going into the turn 5-6 chicane, Gunther basically got shoved into the wall by it looked like Cassidy, and basically you had Cassidy, Gunther, and Verline basically going 3 wide. Gunther, of course, kind of gets kind of embedded in the wall, but he's able to continue, so he hits the wall. But then Cassidy and Verline basically just continue going through the corner. And Cassidy basically just keeps going wide and wider and wider, and he makes contact with Verline, who makes contact with the wall. And Verline ends up flipping his car over. So, yeah, massive crash there. A bit of a scary one for Verline, of course, getting flipped over. Probably shades of Monaco 2017, where, of course, he got flipped over by Jenson Button there. But, of course, yeah, a bit of a scary crash. Luckily, though, Verline seems to be all right at this point. And, again, another red flag as they clear up the debris from another big crash. So, at this point, we've had 2 red flags. Where are we? Yeah, 2 red flags, and we've had like almost half the field has been into an incident or 2. And again, a lot of the front-running teams, Jaguar, Andretti, Envision as well, they've all had at least one car with massive issues today. So, a big opportunity for cars a bit lower down the field, or what we expect to be lower down the field, to have a really good result today. So Gunther, let's see, where are we? So cars come out behind the safety car, and at the restart, your top 5 is Evans, DaCosta, Barnard, Bird, and Mortara. Very clean restart, not a lot of incidents or anything. Lap 33, Bird wants Barnard to try to go for a move because he was worried that cars were going to try to overtake him behind. But turns out that wouldn't be an issue. In final lap, Evans takes your checkered flag, takes the win from 22nd on the grid. I'm pretty sure that's a new record for win from furthest back on the grid, so great job for him. Definitely benefited a bit from the carnage and chaos going on. But Barnard also first podium in Formula E for him, so great result there for the young British driver. And of course, while the McLaren seemingly benefited from getting a drive-through penalty, they're not going to be able to rely on that happening every race. So they're definitely going to be very happy to get that massive haul of points, and of course leading the team's championship as well. But again, they're gonna have to want to work on the issues that led to them all getting drive-through penalties, and also work on their qualifying as well, because that was also a bit of an issue for them. All right, so taking a look at your final result for the 2024 Sao Paulo E-Prix, won, of course, by Mitch Evans. Second, Antonio Felix da Costa, great start to the season for him. Much better than Season 9 or Season 10. So hopefully, if he can keep that momentum up, maybe he can be in the championship fight this year. Third, Barnard, fourth, Bird, great result for them. Fifth, Mortara. Sixth, Nato. Seventh, De Vries. Eighth, Buemi. Ninth, Ticknam in the Kiro, great result for him. 10th, Vern. 11th, Van Dorn. 12th, Gunther. 13th, Maloney. 14th, Roland. 15th, Cassidy. Beckman not classified. He was able to get back out on track eventually, but he was like 5 or 6 laps behind, which is why he's not classified. Your DNFs, Verline, Dennis, Muller, Hughes, and Degrassi, with fines not starting the race. And of course, just finishing up with your championship or standings. Of course, not a ton of differences from your race standings, as it is the first race. I'll just go over the one difference, and that is that Verline is in 9th because he of course got 3 points for pole position, and Nato also got the extra point for fastest lap. So there you go. There is my review of the 2024 Sao Paulo E-Prix. Pretty chaotic race. I don't think we're going to be able to expect every race to be like that, but the fact that attack mode now works and it's an actual strategic component, the racing seems to be pretty good. I'm pretty happy and looking forward to season 11 of Formula E. So thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.